Today is Chembe, isn't it? What is Chembe? So what does it mean? Remember your departed one. Then why not we talk about that? How to remember our departed one. So do you like to know? Right. This idea of remembering or paying respect to our departed one was originated few thousand years ago in the man's mind due to certain experiences. First started because of the fear and suspicion that they experienced and the belief they had about rebirth at that time before all these religions come into existence was that each and every person who departs from this world reappear or exist again as a spirit. Now that was the belief. Then certain influences, dreams, fortune and misfortune, suspicion, and some other indications or coincidence created more ideas in the man's mind to understand that there must be something to influence us. That is how this concept or the idea was originated, to do something in the name of the departed person. There were two purposes. First thing, for their own protection, to avoid disturbances and misfortune. In fact, that is the main reason. 75%. Then they also believe that departed persons also can do something for them to avoid certain misfortune, accidents, sicknesses, and many other things. These are the two aspects. One thing, to avoid the problems, and the other thing is to gain something from them. Then started to do some offerings and worshipping. When Buddhism come into existence, the Buddha has given a very meaningful, very rational interpretation. He did not accept the same belief that people had. He said, after our death, rebirth can take place in various places, not only as a spirit. So he has broken that traditional belief. Then he has pointed out there are 31 planes of existence. That means he categorized the whole universe into 31 groups. So, rebirth or the existence again take place according to our own action, thoughts and words. External sources such as God or devas or devils or spirits are not responsible for that. They cannot do anything for that. They cannot take us. They cannot send us to heaven or hell or ghost world. So our own action or our way of life is responsible for that. This interpretation was given by the Buddha. Then what are those 31 planes? Let us start from the bottom. Naraka, Tirachina, Peta, Asura. These are the 4 unfortunate states. Naraka, also Pali word. That means hell. Not only one particular hell. There are so many places according to the nature of our bad karmic effect. We experience sufferings, miserable life, very unfortunate life. That place is called hell. So hell is not a ready-made place, not created by anybody. So according to the Buddha, the hell exists everywhere. Here also we experience the suffering of hell. And in certain other planets where living beings exist, also experience suffering. So we can regard such places also as hell. And this is the Buddhist concept. And hell is not permanent. This is another difference. To many others, hell is an everlasting place where those unfortunate living beings never get the chance to escape. Buddhism says the duration, the period that we have to suffer in certain places depend on the gravity or the degrees of our own karma. There may be few hundred or few thousands or few millions years, but not permanent. Now this is another interpretation given by the Buddha. Then we come to the second stage, Tirachina. Tirachina, meaning of this word is all those living beings who walk in this way. Now we walk in this way, and many other living beings walk in this way. Who are they? Animals. Cats and dogs and all those animals, their head is like this, not like this. Tirachina. So we regard this also as an unfortunate state. But when you see how certain cats and dogs and animals enjoy their life better than human beings, isn't it? How can you say they are suffering? Not in that sense. They are unfortunate because they do not know anything about their life. Understand? They are in the dark. Second reason, they have no sense of reasoning to understand things properly. Third one, they have no chance to mold their future life, also in the dark. And they do not know what will happen to them after their death. No such thinking power. They too have a mind, but this mind is limited only for their survival, but no reasoning power. Not only that, we can see how many of those animals suffer. You can go to slaughterhouse and see how they enjoy their life. You go to market and see how they slaughter them. And see other cats and dogs and various other animals, what a miserable life they are leading here, even without food, without shelter, without a place for them to sleep, and everybody disturb them, beat them, kill them. So that life is unfortunate. Then the third one is called faith. There is no correct English word for this. Faith, sometimes we interpret as a spirit. A spirit, there are two. Unfortunate spirits are regarded as a very miserable living being. Very fortunate spirits, whom we regard as devas, are very fortunate. There are two groups. Why do we use the word spirit? Because the formations of their physical body, the dimension, or the combinations of elements of their physical body are not like ours. Therefore, they are invisible to our naked eyes. They may exist everywhere, but we cannot see them. And some are very wicked, very jealous, and very cruel. And they are the ones who disturb us. Really, they disturb us. Then the good ones, very fortunate, they experience more worldly pleasure better than human beings. And they do exist for a long period. Their lifespan is higher than the human life. Two kinds of spirits. Now we try to contact both by performing some meritorious deeds. We transfer the merits to our departed one. That means if our departed ones are in that particular spirit form, we try to create our mental vibration, radiate our loving kindness towards them, and transfer the merits. They are the only one who can receive our merits. Remember this. We cannot transfer the merits to animals. We cannot transfer the merits to those who suffer in so-called hell, to release them. So, merits are needed, or easily we can influence their life through the transference of merits to this particular group, a spirit. That is what we are doing. transference of merits to our departed one for their well-being. They may get some sort of relief through our support. But we cannot do this from the Buddhist point of view simply by performing certain rites and rituals. The Buddha did not encourage this. Now you do all sort of things, burning certain things and offering. That is not the correct method. The Buddha's advice is, we must do some meritorious deeds. Now what is the meaning of meritorious deeds? Do some good deeds, do some service to others to relieve their suffering. You can feed even animals also. It is a meritorious deed. You can provide food, you can provide medicine or clothing. These are the meritorious deeds recommended by the Buddha. Then the merits that we accrue can transfer the departed one. On the other hand, we also try to invite those good spirits or devas. It is not transference of merit. Wrongly we use this word. Transference of merits to our departed ones. But when we are going to contact devas, we invite them to come and share the happiness that we gain by performing some meritorious deeds. And this is one of the advices given by the Buddha. When you read Ratana Sutta, you can see this passage there. Divacha rattocha haranti ye balin tasmahi ne rakkata appamatta. So those devotees, by performing their religious duties, religious services or meritorious deeds, by doing some offerings, remember you. Now the Buddha is addressing to those devas. They remember you. That means they invite you to share the happiness. Tasmahine rakkata. Therefore your duty is asking to the devas, your duty is to protect them. Tasmahine rakkata. Rakkata means protect. Devas can do certain things. As Buddhists, we do not pray to God or devas by asking our final salvation, asking the God to send us to heaven. It is not practical from the Buddhist point of view. Another person cannot do that. That means one person cannot send another person to heaven or hell. But there are certain things that they can do for us. Remember this. They have very strong psychic power, better than human psychic power. Those devas. They can catch the things very quickly and very easily. When we create the thoughts in our mind, before we utter some words to express what we thought, devas can catch our mental vibration. And human beings also develop this mind reading. Those who attain sainthood or Arahanta and various other stages through their meditation, gain that power to read others' mind. Then, recently in Russia, without depending on any religion or any god, because they have no religion, they have developed this to communicate without uttering even one word, exchanging mental vibration. First they tested from Moscow to Leningrad. You know how far from this? Moscow to Leningrad, very far, more than 1,000, no 2,000, I do not know. Later, they tested from Moscow to Siberia. So when these two persons started to exchange their thoughts, they recorded everything. So when they met and discussed with each other, they found out correct. We can develop this, but we must know the technique. But Devas, by nature, maintain this psychic power. So, they can indicate or they can give us a warning to avoid certain misfortune, mostly in our dreams. They appear in our dreams. Then why do they appear in our dreams? I told you, the formations of their physical body is not like ours. Therefore we cannot see them. But the life is there. Then who are those devas or good spirits who want to contact us? They are not strangers, not outsiders. Some of our departed relatives who were born in that particular spirit form as devas. Now you can understand the real significance of transference of marriage to departed one. So when we remember them, they developed their relationship. We communicate directly without approaching through agency. Now, all the other religions, they approach an agency, asking them to do something for them. But we directly contact them. That is called inviting them to share our happiness. So, I think you can remember this story I have told you. The Buddha. The day when he made up his mind to become a Buddha. So one day when he was traveling by a sailing boat with his old mother, the boat was capsized, storm, and many of those passengers start crying and praying and worshipping and struggling for their life. And this young man, his main idea was to save his mother, old mother. So what he did actually, instead of praying to anybody, he decided to use his full effort to save his mother, then started to swim. swimming and swimming and swimming, but cannot see the land, which direction to see. But he did not give up hope. Went on swimming and swimming and swimming, struggling in the water. Here, so one of the departed relatives who was born as a Deva, he was watching what this man is doing. Then he cannot carry him. So what he did, he directed, you must swim through this way. Then you will be able to land there. There will be land. So according to his instruction, he could manage to escape and save his mother. Then he started to think very deeply. Because of my effort, today I could manage to save the life of my mother. Why not I use this effort and develop further and further to become somebody, to save others also. This is the very day that he has germinated or implanted the idea in his mind that one day he wants to become a Buddha. He said, Buddhohang bodhisami. One day I must become a Buddha. For what purpose? Muttohang mochaye pare. To save others who are ignorant, who are in the dark, who cannot understand why they suffer here, and they have adopted a wrong method, maintained wrong concept, not knowing the correct path. I must show the correct path. Tinnohang tarayasami. I must help them to cross the great samsara, the oceans of suffering. Sansaroga mahabhaya. Sansara ogre, the storm here in this sansara, wheel of existence, birth and death is mahabhaya, very dangerous. This is the first he determined and developed this in his mind. Later he started to tell others. Again, through his action in three ways: mind, words and action. So then life after life he went on cultivating, developing all the good things, then eradicating, reducing all the bad things, and purifying his mind. There are three things. No one can become a Buddha very easily. First thing, he had to eradicate all the bad, evil things from the mind. Second thing, he had to cultivate all the good qualities and the virtues and the precepts and principles. Third thing, he must gain knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Then the purity must be there. Without these qualities, no one can gain enlightenment, no one can become the Buddha. So originated from there, one of the departed relative who was a Deva has paved the way for him to save his life. So there are many things that they can do for us, but they cannot give us wisdom. Remember this. They cannot give us knowledge. They cannot wipe out our evil habits or bad habits. We had to work for that. They cannot send us to heaven or nirvana. We had to work for that. This is the Buddhist attitude. But Devas can help us in our day-to-day life to avoid certain misfortune or accidents or many other problems. Why do they appear in dreams? Because when we sleep, all the five senses are not working with the mind. Cut off the senses from the mind. Otherwise we cannot sleep. Then there is a vacuum in the mind. So at this moment, Devas or spirits cannot contact us because all our five senses are active. That means, in simple language, the line is engaged. They may dial and dial, cannot catch. Engage. When we sleep, very easy to catch, because some people, when they want to make trunk call to Singapore at night time, because the line is not engaged at night time. So in the same manner, Devas and spirit also dial at night time. Then appear. Tell you something, but the problem is the difficulty of understanding the real meaning of the dreams. There's another technique for that. There are four kinds of dreams we are experiencing. Everybody who exists in this world experience some sort of dreams. Some people say they never. They are wrong. Only thing is that they cannot remember. Only Arahantas and the Buddhas never get any dreams. Can you give me the reason why? Because they have no anxieties. They have no craving. They have no selfishness. All our dreams appear in our mind due to one of these things. If our minds are free from these things, we also never get any dreams. So, certain dreams are meaningless. Influenced by the elements and energies of our physical body or the food that we take. All sort of dreams, but no meaning. Certain dreams we experience through the influence of external forces like heat, wind, rain, and influence of element. No meaning. Then there are two more. This is very important. Just now I told you, our departed person who were in the spirit form try to contact us. When they need something, also they contact us. When they want to support or give us some sort of warning to avoid, they contact us. It depends on how far we have developed our relationship with them. After our death, although we are separated physically, only elements were separated, but not the life. Life is an energy. Life is a current. And the relationship between this life and that life still continue, communicate. That is how, after our death also, we can communicate, we can contact our friends, our relatives, our wife, husband, children. It depends on our inclination, our attachment, and our understanding. So, certain dreams are very meaningful. Next day sometimes we can experience either good or bad result. Informed by certain devas or spirit. It is true. Our own experience proves that it is true. And the other one is very complicated. This one, our subconscious mind, this is more psychological. All our good and bad karmic forces which we have accumulated during so many previous births, all deposited, accumulated as collective consciousness. When the modern psychologists also accommodate this as collective consciousness, never disappear. And this consciousness is very sensitive. Works like radar system. When any aeroplane or ship come to certain areas, the radar system indicate there is. Then they find out. Just like that, our consciousness indicate there is something. Now, I can give you an example. Somebody is planning to harm you, kill you, or to rob you. But he is planning, thinking, talking, how to do this. And every word, every thought, every action, that person creates vibration. And our consciousness, supported by our karmic forces, catch the vibration. And that is how earlier we will come to know, according to certain indication, something may happen. Either through the influence of devas or spirit, if not our own consciousness, supported by our own karmic forces, indicate. So we had to act wisely to avoid, if it is a bad indication. If it is a good one, we must know how to adjust ourselves to gain that. There are two ways. This is the last one. 4 kinds of dreams that we experience. So each and every person experience at least few within their life this kind of dream. But some people cannot understand. So the spirits, just now I was talking, the bad and good. So we try to contact them by transferring the merits that we accrue and inviting the devas to share our happiness, and we communicate with them. Then the last one among those unfortunate group is ghost. Ghost or devils or demons, these are the words, they are not spirits. They are not innocent. They are very violent, very wicked, and always disturb others. That is their habit. Very notorious group. And they are also regarded as unfortunate living beings. They too suffer there. Ghost. But your way of interpretation of ghost is different. To you, there is a particular world called ghost world, isn't it? And your Chinese ghosts are very gentle, very understanding people. Why? For 1 year, they go back to their ghost world and sleep without disturbing others. Only once a year they come out. See how gentle they are. But the other ghosts almost every day come and disturb us. But not Chinese ghost. So what you do, you know how to deal with them. You give them only one chicken leg. They satisfy, go back and sleep again for another 1 year. This is the nature of your ghost. Anyway, ghosts exist everywhere. So then what is the solution for this? Here, to avoid the disturbances that they create is by creating more powerful vibration from our mind. That is the solution. What is that? By radiating our loving kindness, metta. Metta becomes a very energetic mental force, act just like zeal to protect you. When you radiate your loving kindness, that vibration protects you. This is the method introduced by the Buddha. This you can do when you meditate, when you do some chanting, then you can radiate your loving kindness towards those unfortunate living beings. Then they do not disturb you. These are the 4 unfortunate states. Then come to human world. This is number 5. Human world. One human world, 6 kinds of Devaloka. But these Devas are not the Devas just now I mentioned in my talk. They are spirit. They are called earthbound Devas. You understand? Earthbound means close to this earth. They are not heavenly Devas. That is why people go and worship certain trees, jungles, rivers, rocks and mountains. They believe that there are certain spirit and Devas. They are not heavenly Devas. But here I am talking about heavenly Devas. There are 6 stages according to our own karmic energies. rebirth take place in one of those places and spend very, very long period there. Enjoy worldly life. But that is not permanent. That is also changeable. That is also under the law of the universal law of impermanency. That is what many people could not understand. They try to introduce heaven as a permanent place. The Buddha has pointed out, it is not permanent. So we cannot satisfy simply by gaining that heavenly bliss. One day we have to experience some sort of disappointment. Then certain Brahma world, there are 16. Now 4 and 5 and 6 and 16. And their life is not like ours or Devas. Their 5 senses are not working just like human beings' senses or Devas. Because they have reduced their craze, their anxieties to enjoy sensual pleasure, but still they use 2 or 3 senses in Brahma world. They can see, they can hear, they can smell. They don't want to go beyond that. Others are cut off. They experience more peace, more satisfaction in that particular game. Those who have calmed their senses through meditation, rebirth takes place in one of the Brahmanas. It is the development of the mind, purity of the mind. They are not crazy for worldly pleasure. But human beings, Devas, animals, belong to one group. That is called Kama Loka. Kama Loka means sensual world, where living beings experience pleasure through their 5 senses. And all our troubles and problems and worries and fighting and killing, disturbances, we experience because of this. We want to indulge our senses. To gain this, we disturb others, we rob others, we kill others, we bluff others. Then the trouble starts. But in that particular Brahma world, they do not behave like us because they have calmed, reduced that crazy attitude towards sensual pleasure, because they have seen the real nature. Then some others believe that that is the final goal. They can experience this calmness or satisfaction in Brahma world forever. Again the Buddha says no. That place also impermanent. Until we reach Nibbanic bliss. Because even in those Brahma world, still they have certain degrees of craving, certain degrees of ignorance. Their minds are not completely pure. Because of that, rebirth can take place again. Only final goal is Nibbana, the ultimate goal. No changes. So, I started my talk to tell you the significance of transference of merits. In the end, you landed in Nirvana. Anyway, we went on explaining, started from hell and ghosts and animals and spirit and human beings and devas and Brahma. Now let us come back to human world again. To see the difference amongst all those 31 planes of existence, the Buddha says, human life is more fortunate than any other forms of existence. More fortunate than devas. More fortunate than Brahmas. And of course other lower forms of living beings, they understood. And why do we say like this? There are two reasons. First thing, I think you have heard the interpretation of this word Manushya. Manushya is a Sanskrit word. The definition is given in our religious book. A living being who can raise, who can develop his or her mind is called Manushya. Others are not that fortunate. Even Devas and Brahmas also not advanced up to that extent. We have potentials. All the facilities are there. But unfortunately, our ignorance misleads us. Then we cannot develop this. If we know how to remove the ignorance which close our intelligence, our wisdom, our understanding, then very easily we can cultivate this. That is the reason why a Deva or a Brahma or any other living beings never become a Buddha. A God cannot become a Buddha. A Brahma cannot. Only a Manushya, only human beings can become the Buddha. What is the meaning of Buddha? The Buddha means embodiment of all the great virtues and good qualities and knowledge and wisdom, purity. See how many things are there. So the embodiment of all these things is called the Buddha. And this development take place only in human minds. You say, each and every person can become a Buddha. Yes. There is no argument. But we must know how to gain it. We must know how to cultivate. Then one day we can become a Buddha. If not, we can become Arahantas or saint to attain Nirvana. So human life is the most fortunate life if you know how to handle it properly. Religion is discovered by human beings. people say God has given us a religion. Actually, religion was not given by any God. We establish, we develop everything. After that, we invite God to come down and occupy. God has not introduced any religion to us. We are the one who create religion. We are the one who destroy religion also. So, human life is a wonderful life. Without abusing it, if you know how to make use of it, then we can contribute a lot towards other living beings also, not only for the mankind. Because of us, other poor living beings also cannot live peacefully. We go and kill and destroy them for our own benefit. Human beings are the only living beings in this world who destroy all the existing other living beings. But others never do that. Others destroy only certain groups, certain kinds of living beings for their survival or for their protection. Animals, birds, snakes and all those living beings, they kill or destroy only certain groups. But we human beings destroy every living beings in this world for our own benefit. That is the way how we abuse. So that should not be the correct attitude. We should not be so selfish to destroy others for our survival. After all, what are we going to do by living? We destroy others for our living. By living, what are we going to do? Nothing. Eating and sleeping and enjoying. We do not contribute anything for the welfare or the benefit of others. So our existence can become real nuisance to the whole world. But at the same time we can divert our human mind to serve the whole world, the whole universe, not only this world. That is the method introduced by the Buddha. By cultivating our mind, by reducing evil forces from our mind, by radiating our loving kindness towards others, we contribute a lot for others also to live peacefully. And now you can understand where we are. I think enough, more than an hour. All right, now stand up to transfer the merits to all our departed ones. Recite these words. Idang me jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo idang me jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo idang me jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo